Hello, in this video I want to answer the question, why are humans the most destructive species on Earth? And the book I read by Yuval Noah Harari actually opened my mind to this interesting observation that he made in his book. And he actually introduced a new way of looking at why humans are so destabilizing to the broader ecosystem that I want to share with you. And the good news is it's not all our fault, actually. But before I explain it, let us first travel 2.3 million years ago into the past. That is the time when something weird happened. First humans appeared. I'm talking about the Homo habilis type of humans. They appeared in the African savanna, and what needs to be said is that for a long time, for more than 90% of its existence, the humans, and here I'm also counting Homo habilis, Homo erectus, Homo floresiensis and other weird human forms, for most of their existence, the human experience was similar to living in a dark forest. Dark forest populated by monsters and magical creatures. That is in fact how humans, and both ancient humans and medieval humans and humans in some primitive tribes, still today see the world. We did have larger brains than other animals, but that didn't help us that much for most of our existence. Other animals were bigger, stronger than us, and they were just as likely to eat us as we were to eat them. And in a way, we truly were uh, like children lost in a dark and scarcely populated forest inhabited by monsters. Here you can see giant sloths that were extinct, that went extinct due to humans hunting them, somewhere around 12,000 years ago. And the humans are truly extraordinary insofar as they managed to kill 50% of all large mammal species on land, and they managed to do it before they even had metal or civilization or all the fancy tools for destruction that we have today, like guns and swords and cavalry. So yeah, we managed to do it with very primitive tools. And well, how did we manage to do it is the question. Here we can see the huge prehistorical tigers that were also a threat, and the Komodo dragons and the Megalania lizards also feasted upon humans for a long time. And these creatures really do look like dragons. So to me it seems that all those dragon stories about heroes killing dragons are an echo of ancient heroes saving their tribes by fighting these huge lizards that were emerging from forests and swamp from the dark in order to kill us. And well, something interesting happened 70,000 years ago that made it possible for us to outcompete not only other humans such as the Neanderthals, but also other large mammals that were just stronger than us. And we call this event the cognitive revolution. It lasted from 70,000 years ago up until 30,000 years ago, and in that period we the humans invent bow and arrow and ships, small ships, very primitive and small ships, but still we are able to engage in trade and hunt with more precision. But the most important thing that this cognitive revolution allowed us is to form complex ideas and express them with language. And Homo sapiens began to be united, unlike the Neanderthal and unlike other animals, around fictional and abstract ideas such as spirits and spirit animals and totems, and because of this ability to believe in myths essentially and fictions, Homo sapiens was able to form larger groups, while the Neanderthals had somewhere around 30 people in their hordes. Homo sapiens had around 100, and very soon even these multiple and separate hordes of Homo sapiens began to form alliances in order to defeat, in order to hunt, for example, or defeat other tribes. Here we can see the dragons as portrayed by African art. And also fire did help us, although the Neanderthals had fire as well, and some even say that for a million years we had fire, but it was only relatively recently that we started to use fire in a very effective way. Humans burned huge swaths of land, thus creating plains, and it was easier for us to hunt in the plains than in the woods. In the plains, we could use the fact that we walked upright on two legs, and we could see into the distance more clearly than other animals in the savanna or in the plain regions of the earth, where high grass was the only thing blocking our view and the view of other animals. And as I already mentioned, bow and arrow did help us significantly, and first ships allowed us to travel to Australia and completely change the ecosystem there. There, the destruction of the original ecosystem was even faster, because by the time humans arrived, we were already very good at hunting and at utilizing fire and forming large groups, and other animals had no time to accommodate. And very soon all these large animals are extinct in Australia. Although climate change, many historians believe, also led to extermination of some large animals in Australia, such as giant sloths, for example, or Diprotodon, the largest wombat on Earth, that was also exterminated in Australia by a combination of humans hunting them and of just climate change. But humans were the decisive factor, most people would agree. And I think the thing is, we were just very good at hunting, and many large mammals, they didn't have large populations. They simply didn't evolve in a way that required them to have a lot of offspring, as we did, because they weren't killed that often. And they simply were unable to start having more offspring in time, because they went extinct before they realized that they were suddenly faced with this new animal that was better at hunting and killing others than all the other animals. And I'm talking about Homo sapiens. We were able to form alliances between multiple hordes and attack, for example, wild horses, and force them to drive them off cliffs by attacking them from multiple sides. And such mass graves of horses were found, and many historians agree that precisely because of this technique, we were able to outcompete the Neanderthal. Because when harsh winter came, we had more meat, because we utilized this technique. And while the Neanderthals starved, we ate meat, we froze horse meat. But okay, other historians claim that we actually genocided all the Neanderthals, or most of them, which is an interesting theory, but we don't know what happened for sure. To me, maybe the best theory appears to be this idea that we were simply better at hunting, and that's why we survived. So we just hunted all the animals in their proximity, and Many of them simply died of starvation, and a few of them were accepted into our tribes. I'm talking about the Neanderthals, and they just mixed with us. That theory I find very plausible. But okay, let me now answer the original question. Why are humans so destructive for the rest of this planet? Well, Harari argues that while sharks, for example, for a long time were at the top of their food chain, but they gradually got there. They got there through a long process of millions of years, and in that aspect, sharks are more like an evil and autocratic monarchy, like Ivan the Terrible in Russia, a very stable but cruel monarchy. And humans, Yuval Noah Harari argues, are more like a dictator that emerges from a war in the banana republics. Here we can see the Americans capturing the Sandino rebels and their flag. And we, the humans, the Homo sapiens, are more like a Sandino rebel group that suddenly wins the war, founds itself on the top of a state, but it's a very unstable process, precisely because it happened so fast that the rest of the ecosystem never actually managed to mutate or to change in a way to accommodate itself to this new phenomenon, and that is the humans becoming so much better at killing others suddenly by utilizing fire and bows and arrows. And yeah, so in a way, it is not even our fault that we are destroying the Earth. The thing is, the Earth simply had no time to change, and other species had no time to accommodate to this new phenomenon, simply because it happened so fast. And I do agree with Harari, this analogy of a rebel group suddenly winning, like communists did, and other Marxist guerrillas in Africa and Asia found themselves in a similar situation. They suddenly won and found themselves in control of this huge state that was ruined by war and economic disasters, and they were simply unable to accommodate and to establish a new system that was effective fast enough. And yeah, that story kind of in a poetic way illustrates the story of us becoming kings of the Earth ecosystem. It simply happened too fast, and we ourselves even didn't in time realize how much power we had and how much responsibility that power requires. Not to mention that other animals, simply also didn't have the time to evolve. Just like large sloths that unfortunately never managed to realize they need to have more children, or never had the time to mutate in a way that would save them from our fire and arrows and spears. And in the same way that large sloths went extinct, now many other species are facing the same problem. And I truly do hope that at this point we are evolved enough to restrain ourselves, because it appears that Earth itself and evolution is just a blind process that happens with no goal or purpose. And if we want our ecosystem to survive, unfortunately we will need to restrain ourselves, because the ecosystem simply won't do it for us. The ecosystem will probably survive, but if we destabilize it enough, it will kill us eventually. So yeah, that is how, through a bizarre twist of fate, we found ourselves at the top of an ecosystem that we were actually unable to control and realize our role in it.